3 is basically setting up all of the stuff that you need as a starting point for Unit 4 and Unit 5. Unit 4 is pure or perfect competition. Unit 5 is imperfect competition, throwing all the other market structures together into one unit. Perfect competition is the easiest one to deal with because it's the least complicated. So, the first thing that you want to understand about perfect competition is what are the characteristics of the market. There are some important points to remember. You're going to have the same kinds of categories for the other market types, it's just that they're going to be, well, more complicated. All right, so the first thing. Compared to the other markets, you're going to have a very large number of buyers and sellers. You're also going to have an undifferentiated product. That'll fit here. Well, sort of. Meaning that it's all pretty much exactly the same. There's no reason to advertise if your product is exactly the same as everybody else's, and there's no reason to charge a different price because you have lots and lots of substitutes, is the implication of this. We also have, let's see, easy entry and exit, meaning that there are virtually no barriers to entry. And those are going to be very significant for some of your other market types. A barrier to entry might be, for example, a government contract giving one particular producer exclusive rights to operate in a market. Or it might be, for example, a franchise agreement where you cannot open a particular store in a town unless you have a franchise agreement with a corporation. So those would be barriers to entry. They do not come into play in this market because, again, we're starting with the least complicated one. And I feel like I'm leaving something out. There is one more here. And that is that in terms of price, in perfect competition, the firm is a price taker. Not a price maker, a price taker. Because you have virtually nothing stopping other people from getting into the market, and they're making pretty much the same thing, and there are a ton of them. You, the individual, are producing such a small piece of the total market supply that you have zero control whatsoever about what happens with price. And this is really what makes this market the easiest one to deal with, is that price is the same no matter how much you produce. Now that's not true for the industry curves, which we'll see in just a little bit, but for the individual firm, your price line is going to be nice and flat. So again, we'll see differences for all four of these things in monopolistic competition and oligopoly and monopoly, but for right now, this is our starting point. Starting this time with the revenue side. We've looked at how to set up the cost curves already, which we'll do in this market in just a bit. But starting with the revenue part, which is how much money the firm is making. We want to look at, let's see, revenue, and price, and again, quantity, output on the bottom. Now, because the price is basically set, your price line is equal to your marginal revenue, which is equal to your demand curve. This is the beauty of this market. You don't have to think about how all of these are drawn because they're all exactly the same line and they're all horizontal. And again, the reason is that any one firm is producing only one small piece of that total product for the market. You have so many buyers that if the firm tries to change its price, they're just going to go buy from somebody else. So if the firm raises the price, there are no buyers because it's too easy to find a substitute. So this is your marginal revenue. Your total revenue is going to increase in a nice straight line. And remember, the total revenue is just price times quantity demanded. So that's easy. That's the first part of the revenue curves. The next thing that we want to throw in here, if we look at total revenue, we want to add our total cost. And I'm not sure if you need to be able to draw this for the AP exam or not, but I'm going to show it to you just to help you understand how some of these concepts fit together. So we have our total revenue. If we add our total cost, total cost is going to increase. The difference here, go ahead and label that, the difference between those two things is going to be potential profit. Let me put that in another color so you can see what it means here. So what happens if our total cost is above our total revenue? We're going to lose money, which we don't want to do. So again, you want to have an understanding of where your costs are versus what you're making, because that will help you decide what the best level of your production is.